Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Morning Coffee Talks. Hey, one of the things that I would consider the glue of marriage is definitely communication. And I think that this is one of the things that continuously hurt marriages, man. And obviously there's other things like, finance, there's other thing about trust, but I definitely think the glue, especially for myself in particular, has been the communication, and sometimes without it, I don't know if, any marriage can make it, not with sincere communication. So I kind of want to set the tone and kind of make it clear that poor communication doesn't only, create arguments. From what I've seen, it creates distance as well. And distance is dangerous in marriage, man, because if you ever wonder, why your wife could seem checked out, you got to ask yourself, when was the last time that you guys really communicated? Not just talk, but actually connected and communicated what the situation was. And sometimes it may not even be a quote unquote like problem or issue. It's just there's no communication to constantly keep the connection flowing on, just the romantic part, the intimacy part, and just the friendship part, you know? But without communication, it doesn't build clarity. But with it, it does build clarity. And when you build clarity, it doesn't create assumptions, right? And I think that most arguments, again, aren't about the issue. It's more about a misunderstanding. And again, that's just that clarity. But being silent gives it kind of gives it allows your woman to create headspace to write a story that may not be true, right? And that's dangerous on her end. But if you create clarity, it definitely eliminates any confusion. And I think that speaking up, even when it's uncomfortable, is powerful as well. And so I always preach about men being leaders, right? And being a leader in your marriage means that you're the one who sets the tone for that emotional safety. Because again, I'm gonna beat this drum constantly. We're providers and protectors, right? And part of protecting isn't only physically; it's definitely emotionally as well. Because sometimes, how do I want to frame this? Sometimes, just by the nature of the design, right? Sometimes our woman don't understand their feelings, right? And so sometimes it's incumbent of us to help clear that feeling up because we're the ones who should be very logical about what's going on, right? And so if you clear about what the emotional state is, then you can help create a framework around there, some guardrails around that to allow her to stay mentally safe and emotionally safe. If that makes sense. So like if whatever's going on, right? When you express your thoughts, it invites her to do the same, right? It creates a room and it creates room for honesty and not hostility. And sometimes it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be all good and, everything is hunky dory. But the honesty is there. And that's the most important part because then all the cards and all the chips on the table and there's no confusion again when it comes to the clarity. And so with that being said, that just lets you know that again, real men, real leaders, we lead with logic, man. and also, emotional maturity. And that's what I kind of alluded to about the emotional safety, right? If 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 we're the ones who are emotionally mature, then we can create that emotional safety because we understand how to read the room. We understand what's really going on between the lines, right? And sometimes the woman that we're with may not be as emotionally mature. Some of them are, a lot of them are, matter of fact, but some of them are not, and a lot of men are either. So it needs to be incumbent of you to be emotionally aware and emotionally mature. And this is part of the videos I shot a while back. Just speaking on the awareness of how a lot of men was raised earlier in life, meaning like, we couldn't have emotional awareness, right? We only knew anger and sadness, right? No in between. We weren't allowed to express our emotions like women were, like young girls were, right? And so they was able to quote unquote practice their emotions, right? Go through the phase, see it through. But a lot of us was taught to suppress it. And especially that in turn meant that you were a real man if you could suppress it and not control it, right? It was never about control for us. It was always about suppression. But now that we're older and we're men, this is why I preach therapy as well, about allowing ourselves, if we never allowed ourselves or got a chance to go through those emotions, to see them through, as we get older and we never did that, and we know those emotions arrive, we don't know how to deal with them. So when we see them from someone else, we're not going to know how to create that emotional barrier, emotional safety for them, because we never did it for ourselves, right? So it's important that you see it through, as far as being able to understand your emotions first and see them through and control them, right? And become emotionally mature. And that'll help with the communication as well. So one other part, right? And I kind of, again, alluded to this, listen, every marriage, no marriage is perfect, right? No marriage is perfect. There's going to be conflicts. Just because, again, there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of different growth factors, two different people seeing things from two different angles. And it's going to create tension. And again, it happens in every marriage. It happens when you're not married. You know what I mean? So, when you're just dating or whatever, it's just different levels to it. I think, but the difference is how you, as your relationship and your situation, how y'all resolve it, right? And the one thing, again, if you don't talk through it, it's just going to fester, man. It's just going to fester, and it's just going to be an open wound that's going to keep getting infected constantly over and over. It's going to start to spread, again, just like a wound. And, I think that communication is the Band-Aid, or it is the surgery you need to close the wound, right? Again, they're going to be scars, right? They're always going to be scars. But how do we close the wound, right? And that's just communication and, different type of forms. But again, that's what's going to help you close that wound. That's going to help you talk through it, get through it, and be able to move on and put that particular issue behind you. And, not only communicating, but part of communication is listening, actually, right? It's not just about talking. And when it comes to communicating, I think listening with intent to understand and not to just respond is very powerful as well, because communication isn't only a vocal thing. Sometimes it's body language, right? When you're listening, you create communication through body language on how you respond and how you're listening, how you're understanding. And you have to give your wife the floor, right? You have to validate her feelings. And then, you share yours. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way too, because, us as men, we have a lot of ego. And, unfortunately, everybody want to be right. Not just us. Everybody want to be right, because that's just what it is. But I think as a man, as you mature, it gets to a point where it's not about being right, it's about getting to the right answer, right? That's one thing. It's like, okay, even though I'm right, is it the right answer? But even if I'm wrong, did we arrive to the right answer to fix it? Right. So that's my little thing. It's not about being right all the time. It's about getting to the right answer. And so, but to get to that, to arrive to that point, you have to share space on the floor to be able to communicate. It just can't be your way or the highway. Right. Who wants to go through life like you with somebody who y'all learn each other in and out? And if that's the case, it's actually a benefit, right? Because if they know you, because women, listen, they're gonna know you inside and out before you know them. That's just what it is, and it's actually leverage, because it's like if they know you more sometimes than you know yourself, then it's like they can kind of see things before you do, right? And you could use that to your advantage. You can use that to be strategic, because it's like you can have a million things going on, but if you kind of got another person who thinks kind of like you, it's only a benefit. You know what I mean? It's only a benefit. And I think that wise men, strong men, great leaders, you know, they know that being silent, right, can be strategic when it's about listening, right? Because again, if you just shut your mouth for a little bit and listen, again, if that woman knows you the right way, then it's more powerful to listen than to speak. And it's going to be more of a benefit to you, because again, most of the time, I, the sentiment out there is women want to change you, right? But me looking at it now, it's not about changing you into what they want you to be. A lot of time they just got a different nature, man, and they see things differently, right? And I think if they really rocking with you, they see the best version of you before you do, right? And again, if you're smart, man, if you know how to listen, you will hear things that they're gonna see things that you don't see in yourself. And again, that can just be a powerful leverage for you, because it's like, I know where I'm going. It's like, but sometimes they see the traps before you. And it's like, and again, it's not a situation that's trying to tell you what to do. It's just, they have a powerful third eye, man. I can't explain it. It's just the way that God designed women. But I feel like only if they really rocking with you and they really care about you like that. You know, there are some women who don't, and they're very manipulative. But if you're smart, you'll be able to see how things are being played, in a sense of they want the best for you, not just to try to control you for their advantage, right? It's like they want to help guide you in a sense, because they sometimes learn you faster than you learn yourself, and that way it could be a leverage point for you. And so that's one of the best ways I can put it. But listen, man, don't wait for a crisis. The whole point, I don't want to get too far from the video. Communication, right? Don't wait for a crisis. I used to shot a video about checking in, right? Doing a daily check-in. Sometimes it helps you just read the temperature of the room, right? It could be something that you did a week ago, yesterday, and y'all just never got around to speaking to it. But I think if you do a daily check-in and don't wait till things blow up, I think that it'd definitely be a benefit for you as well, to help the communication. So, you know, that could be, you know, asking them how they feeling this week, how they feeling today, how their day going. Is there anything that you guys haven't spoke about that may be on your mind? Scheduling the time to really sit down and speak about it. And just, again, giving the floor space for both parties to speak. And again, I think for us men, we need to learn how to listen without the intent to just to react, or to respond, but actually take it in and internalize it, and then we respond. So Anyway, communication is the glue, man. It really is. And that's what I say. That's just the bottom line of it. Marriages break down, but I would say not because it's one big blowout, right? But it's because the 100 little things that was unspoken, right? It's the little things that go unseen and unaddressed. Just be the husband who communicates, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, man. And that, again, I think that just builds you up, because the marriage that you want, I feel like it just lives on the other side of conversation that you're avoiding. So, be a leader, be a strong man, be a real husband, and communicate, man. Your marriage, you appreciate it. So anyway, hey, drop a comment below. Subscribe to the Husband Code if it's your first time. If you've been watching for a while, subscribe. Also, if you got any value from this video, hit that like button and hit the notification bell as well, because we're constantly dropping videos like this all the time. And until next time, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.